Hey guys, welcome back for my review of the Coen Brothers True Grit and a special announcement. I already talked about this on, I think, my last video, but I'm going to say it again because it relates to this review. Starting this month, I'm starting a podcast called Movie Dudes with my buddy Chris Scott. It's going to be hosted by Vagary.tv. Go there and check that site out. They have lots of cool podcasts. And this is going to be the first purely movie centric one on the site. And me and Chris are pretty good buddies that go a couple years back. We've both been bloggers on IGN. For me, at least, I've been there for 3 years now. And we were both like the two big movie guys on there that always reviewed movies. So this is going to be a fun show. We already have a podcast we do together called The Perfectly Sane Show. So our chemistry is already there. And the very first episode, we're going to review Dinner for Schmucks, The Town, and this one, True Grit. So this is your little sneak preview of my thoughts, anyways, on the film. I don't know what Chris's are. I don't think he's seen it yet. But anyways, the Coen Brothers' True Grit is a remake of, I think it's the 1969 Western that I didn't research this before starting this. I believe won John Wayne the Best Actor Oscar. Um, I don't know how it relates to the original. I know the story is generally the same, but I have never seen the original and I've never read the book. But from what I've heard, the remake, this Coen Brothers remake, kind of disregards the original movie and kind of tries to follow the spirit of the book. So what is it? It's basically a little girl, a little spunky little girl. Her father's been killed by some, thief, and she wants revenge. She wants justice. So she hires, the rumored meanest U.S. Marshal that there is in this town, and his name is Rooster Cogburn. Played this time not by John Wayne, but by Jeff Bridges, who is just in fine form here. Um, Coen Brothers, they've it's kind of cool to see them do a traditional western after the success they had with No Country for Old Men, which is kind of like a neo western, like like a modern, like a western in modern setting. And here they're doing a just straight up traditional western that is, I'll say this right up at the top, it's surprisingly funny given the fact that it's a western and the subject matter. It's just like a lighthearted, straightforward, simple story with a surprising amount of laughs. The the audience I saw it with, they were into it, hook, line, and sinker, laughing at all the big moments that you're supposed to laugh at. And also, it has its emotional moments and it has its action moments, and they're all pretty well done. I'm not a fan of westerns at all. This is a pretty damn good movie. Um, it didn't pass up my favorite western by far. I'm not a fan of westerns, but my favorite western by far is Unforgiven, and it definitely didn't come close to beating Unforgiven for me. Like Unforgiven, there's just something so heartbreaking and perfect, and kind of like a culmination of Eastwood's career to that point, and it re you know like it was a revisionist western, looking back and saying all the stuff in the old spaghetti westerns was bullshit, and just a great story with a very satisfying ending. This one is just really well done. Someone I talked to said it was really well done, meh. And I wouldn't say it's meh, but it's very simple and straightforward. There's not a lot of meat on the story. It's just this little spunky girl wants revenge for her father, and she's looking for a U.S. Marshal with true grit. And so she picks the meanest one, supposedly the meanest one, and it's Jeff Bridges, and he's kind of a drunk, and he's I don't know, man. It's just a funny movie. What makes it work is what people like about the Coen Brothers in general. It has um, great direction, uh, beautiful cinematography from Roger Deakins, who they always use, and I don't blame them. Roger Deakins is the best in the business, and it has very precise dialogue. You get very precise direction in general. You could tell the Coen Brothers are just so specific with what they want out of their actors and what they want out of every scene, and they get it. But their dialogue, I mean, these guys, their dialogue is always a little formal and a little bit, it feels overwrought. I mean, even going back to look at Raising Arizona. It was a movie about like a bunch of small town like country bumpkin type people, and they just told they spoke like they were characters from out of a Shakespeare play, which that was actually something that Roger Ebert held against Raising Arizona when it came out. I bet you he's changed his mind since because Raising Arizona is great, but um, he just didn't buy that these small town characters would talk like that. But you're not. You have to accept the Coen Brothers universe. It's like Kevin Smith's If You Askew universe. You have to accept the way people talk in it, and it's fun to listen to. It's more interesting than boring dialogue. I mean, it's very well written, and this is like them at the top of their game. Just I don't have any specific lines, but why spoil them anyway? I just to say, I mean, very well written lines, and they get the laughs. Um, uh, Jeff Bridges is great in it. Uh, Matt Damon plays another U.S. Marshal. He's pretty good in it. He's in it a decent amount, but they don't do too much with his character. Although they do develop him a little bit. They definitely develop Rooster Cogburn, Jeff Bridges' character. But I think the real shining star here is the little girl who I don't know if I've seen her in anything else before, but she's a little teenager. Her name is Haley Steinfeld, and she plays the main character, Maddie Ross, the girl that wants revenge for her father. And my God, is she good in it, man? She just has a lot of heart. She could deliver the Coen brothers lines with ease, and it didn't sound like she's reading lines. It sounds like she's the person that's speaking, and she really, I think, made the movie. And I don't want to go on too long about it, but my only problem with it is the ending. It has a pretty exciting climax, and it has this very exciting and emotional nighttime horse ride near the end and during the climax, which was very good. It came to like a good, exciting climax, but the villain is a little underdeveloped. You don't get to see him that much. The guy that killed her father, and when you do, he's not in like he doesn't get a lot of lines. He doesn't get a lot of screen time. Basically, the leader of his gang, played by Barry Pepper, who's nearly unrecognizable, he gets more screen time in this and more lines, and even he's just kind of like it's not much of a villain. And the other problem is the final scene. I felt it was kind of limp. It kind of just comes to a limp ending where like you're like, okay, so. I mean, it's fine and all. It's a decent epilogue at the end, but it's just I expected a bit more of an emotional punch after what we were going through. Just the setup that you have between this little, girl and this old drunk who's supposedly a hard ass, but when it comes down to it, she's the one with true grit. Um, Not to spoil anything, but you just that dynamic I think is something that you could get a bigger emotional punch out of at the end. I just was expecting more. I was expecting it to make me cry or something at the end, and at the end it was just I felt a fine, okay epilogue, but kind of like instead of like an exclamation point on the end of a pretty great movie, it's just kind of like dot dot dot. It's just like okay, but I mean overall, like I said, I'm not a big fan of westerns, and I enjoyed this, and even more than I enjoyed it, I appreciated it for what it was, and I realized what a nicely made piece of work it is. Um, I think it's one of the Coen brothers' better movies. I enjoyed it more than No Country for Old Men, I'll tell you that. But I don't think we'll get into No Country for Old Men one day. But I think my problems with that had more to do with the book and not the Coens. The Coens followed the book, which I don't like Cormac McCarthy's writing. But anyways, True Grit. I mean, what can I say? A very finely done western, probably one of the better westerns in a long, long time. Not better than Unforgiven, but pretty damn good. Pretty damn fun and pretty damn surprisingly funny and a little lighthearted. And, a little emotional at parts, but also very lighthearted. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'm gonna give True Grit 4 out of 5 stars. So that's your little sneak preview into my thoughts of it. I'm going to say the same thing during the podcast, but we'll see what Chris has to say about it. Anyways, until the next time, thanks for watching, guys.